Prayer is the only institution, the only school you learn by praying. You learn prayer by praying prayer. You don't learn prayer by just taking notes. You learn prayer by praying prayer. He says, when you pray, say. When you pray, say. His disciples met him in John chapter 11 from verse 1. They said, teach us to pray as John taught his disciple to pray. So I'm sure they took a pen and a paper and they sat down waiting for him to roll out lectures. And he said, okay, when you pray, say, our Father. Start saying it. In other words, the way to learn prayer is to pray prayer. Prayer is the only act you learn on the job. Your expertise is on the platform of your constant practice. Nobody has a gift to pray. People exercise themselves into championship. Nobody has a gift to pray. People exercise themselves. I've told you the story that the first time when I heard that somebody prayed for so and so hours, I tried it. 13 minutes was like 3 hours. I tried it. I tried it. I tried it. I went on. I remember the first time I ever prayed 1 hour in my life. I felt like Jesus would come that day. I prayed for 1 hour. I felt like a spiritual Superman. I felt like a celestial Voltron. I felt any demon I see now is in trouble. I didn't know that 1 hour prayer is for children's church. Jesus said, could you not watch for at least 1 hour? So the least in the kingdom can debate 1 hour. Later I prayed for 2 hours. I prayed for 3 hours. I prayed for... The more you spend time in prayer, the more you get filled with God. The more you spend time in prayer, the more you don't know time is going. I've prayed for 2 hours. I've prayed for 10 hours. I've prayed for 24 hours. I've prayed for 30 hours. Non-stop. I mean, praying for 24 hours was a regular thing when we started. Mama Kabosh, myself, and some pastors will be in the house. We'll start praying in the morning and the next morning. Non-stop. If you're tired of standing, you sit. If you're tired of sitting, you stand. If you're tired of standing, you sit. If you're tired of sitting, you stand. Till the next day, we must complete 24 hours. But today, when I see people, we just do 10-hour intimacy. Some people almost die. 10-hour intimacy, some people almost gone. After 10 hours, they are coming out and I see them and say, what happened? It is well, sir. For 10 hours only. Prayer! I'm going to tell you a few things about prayer. And it's very important you just write them down and you begin to study them. The first thing prayer does, prayer opens you up to the voice of God. A man or a woman that gives his or herself to prayer becomes acquainted with the voice of God. God speaks. The Bible says, Luke 81, he spake a parable to this end that men ought always to pray and not to offend. He said, in that city, there was a woman. In that same city, there was a judge. And the woman met the judge and said all kinds of stuff. The judge wouldn't listen. But after a while, the judge spoke. You can trigger divine voice. You can trigger the audibility of the voice of God when you pray. When you can pray yourself to a point. There are many of you crying, I want to hear God. Give yourself to prayer. You pray to a point, the voice of God bursts open. The celestial realm opens. When you pray to a point, you can't lack the voice of God. You can't lack direction. You can't lack what to do. The reason today you are not hearing God is you have not prayed to a level where God is moved to speak. Even if God had no intention of talking, there's a level a man prays to God. Say, I didn't want to say anything, but I'm saying something now. The man said, I'm not stopping. 12 hours today, 13 hours tomorrow, 10 hours the other day. God said, no, I'm not. I have to say something. I have to say something. He said to Daniel chapter 10 verse 12, from the first day that thou didst set thy heart to chasten thyself before the Lord thy God, thy words were heard, and I have come for thy words. 1 day, 2 days, Daniel continued. On the 21st day, God spoke. God spoke. Prayer opens you up to the voice of God. Tell your neighbor, prayer opens you up to the voice of God. Prayer kills the effectiveness of the flesh. Prayer kills the effectiveness of the flesh. When a man gives himself to prayer, the flesh is less or almost ineffective. If you can give yourself to prayer, the flesh dies. My little children, whom I travel in bed, Galatians 4:19, until Christ be formed. As you travail, there is a formation. As you travail, there is a formation. There's a transition. When a man gives himself constantly to prayer, Christ is being formed. So the more you pray, the more the formation. The more you pray, the more the formation. And the formation gets to a point of total consumption of the flesh. There is no more you that liveth, but Christ that liveth in you. I'm crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ that liveth in me. The life I now live, I live in the faith of the glory of the Son of God, who gave himself for me. You must get to the point you understand. Galatians 2:20. You must get to the point you understand that your formation is on the platform of your communion. When you spend time, Christ is being formed. The nature of God, the character of the Spirit, the attitude of divinity, celestial character, celestial is formed. So the less you pray, the less formation you experience. Tell somebody, I will pray. Tell somebody, I will pray. I can't say I will pray. Because you are praying, there's a formation. Your spiritual life is being built up. It's a building up yourself. Jude verse 20, Jude 1 verse 20. Building up yourself in your most holy faith. Praying in the Holy Ghost. Shakato parita. Are you following what I'm talking about? Number 3, prayer activates the gift of the Spirit. The gift of the Spirit. Prayer activates the gift of the Spirit. Everyone that gets the Holy Ghost, everyone that is born again and gets filled with the Holy Ghost, by the impartation of the Spirit, the gifts were imputed alongside the infilling. Are you following what I'm talking about? Oh, you are not getting me. As the Holy Ghost falls on a man, the gift was imputed. It was juxtaposed, superimposed alongside the filling of the Spirit. But it's not activated unless the man begins to pray. When you have a phone and your battery runs down, do you know that the touch is still working? Talk to me, it's still working. But it cannot work because the battery is down. Is that true? When your phone is off, can you take a call? Can you make a call? Why? I thought you can. You can't make a call? You can't take a call? Can you browse? Because the phone is off. Is the phone bad? So what do you have to do? Now, do you know you can charge your phone 10%? It will work. But it will not work for long. You can charge 20%. So the intensity to which you can charge yourself determine the velocity to which you can go. So if you spend just less time charging yourself, little pressure. Now, how many of you know you can actually charge 10% and overuse can make it go off in 10 minutes? You're not getting my point. Overuse can make it go off. So the more you charge up yourself, build up yourself. That is what it means. My own literal translation: charge yourself. In your most. When hands are laid on a man, it's not the hand that is effective, it's what is being said alongside the hand. 1 Timothy 4:14. Stir up the gift of God in you, which was put on you by the laying on of hands of the presbytery. They spoke over your life. There is a gifting. There's an expression. The more you pray, the more it becomes sharp. The more you pray, the more the gift have expression. The more you pray, what is the talent God has given you? You can refine it by prayer. What is the talent God has placed and imparted and imputed, implanted, transplanted, transported into your life? You can stir it up. So you can be a prophet without prophesying because you can pray. You can be a teacher that can't teach because you can pray. You can be an evangelist without power because you can pray. How can you go out of evangelism and nothing happen? Go ye to the world, preach the gospel, and these signs. And these signs. Because you pray. Somebody say, I will pray. I say, I will pray. There are people that don't understand. Depending on the gift, without charging it up, it will fail you. A time comes, you will hit a brick wall. Your talent is exhausted. Your spiritual velocity and stamina has a leakage because you have not been able to stabilize it with prayer. There are giftings inside of you. There is a well inside of you. You can only stir it up by praying. When you pray, it comes alive. How many of you have prayed and prayed to a point you just perceive something? Less than a few minutes, it happened. You say, "Whoa! I just sense this now." When you are in that dimension, it means that if you can pray more, a prophetic grace is there. You just say, "Oh, that's how I started. That's how I started." I prayed to a point, I'll just say something like something about to happen. Less than 10 minutes. I said, "Whoa! I sensed this thing just now." I said, "Oh, is it that?" I began to pray. I began to pray. I began to pray. I began to pray. I no more sense it. I now started hearing it. After hearing it, I now started saying it. Am I talking to somebody here? I began to pray. You pray to a point that you don't just hear, you say. You declare and God approve. That's a high level of the prophetic. Oh, you didn't get what I said? I was talking with a prophet one time. We were talking about an election in one country. So we were talking, there were two people. The prophet is alive and well. He's a popular man that gives prediction. We are both talking. I said, "This is what God is showing me." He now said, I said, "We don't like this person." I said, "Yes, I don't like that man." And guess what we said? We said, "Let's give it to this guy." Imagine two people on phone discussing what to do to a nation. It's a prophetic level. You now say, "Lord, because of this and this and this." That's what God said to Abraham. He said, "If I find a certain number," Abraham said, "Wait, what if you find this?" God said, "I'll change my mind. What if you find this? I'll change my mind." There's a prophetic level you walk with God. You can tell God, because of this and this, not this. This is what will benefit me. And he said, "Let's give it to this guy." I said, "No, hold on. Hold on. This guy is behaving somehow." There's some things he said. We now finally agreed and went into the place of prayer. 3 days of fasting and prayer. We finished. I said, what have the Lord said? He said, "We have given." I said, "Of course, that's what I heard too. We have given to that guy." So everything turned against that person. And the people in that nation, listen to me, the people in that nation, in that land, were not even smart. Don't help God to fulfill his word. When prophets are involved in a matter, let me tell you something. If God has said that this person is going to fail, and everybody gang up against that person, the person will succeed. You know why? God hates conspiracy. God hates you saying that you did it without him. I won't talk more than that. So you have to be smart to understand there's a gift inside of you. No born again spirit-filled believer is ungifted, if there is any such vocabulary. None. There's a gift. But how come you are walking about giftless? Nothing. Because you are prayerless. Prayers activate. Somebody say activate. Talk to me. Say activate. When you park your car overnight and in the morning you are about to go out and you turn on the ignition, what do? You first accelerate. You warm. You allow power circulate. You don't just drive. In fact, you open, you check the water level. Check, am I correct? You check everything. In fact, that's how we will start praying. We start building. Sometimes you wake up at night, your body is tired. Don't just respond to stimuli. You have to gear up gradually. You may feel tired and you're on the bed. Don't say I'm tired. Start up the engine. Don't just go back to sleep. You may just be there, "Father, thank you. You are awesome. You are faithful. I give you praise." Prayer silences wickedness. It terminates afflictions. It terminates affliction. James chapter 5 verse 13. Is any afflicted? Let him pray. Somebody shout, "I will pray."